Well, hello. Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. Wait a minute. Let me hit my mouse there. All right. Good morning. You got me. You caught me. Pam asked me 3 times. You ready? I said, ready. I wasn't. Today is Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. We'll take your calls that we're ready for at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Nice day yesterday. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a forecast near you today.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
You know, Mike, I'm so used to it. Was it 2 years coming up on? And Pam says, everyone, you ready? You ready? You sure? You ready? I'm like, yeah, yes, I'm ready. She hits the button. I'm not ready. So it's like, are you getting up for school? Yeah, I'm getting up for school. 10
Uh-huh.
minutes later, still asleep in bed. Boys.
And the bus goes by and leaves you there. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's one of those things. Well, we got on the happy bus, the good train, whatever analogy you want to make, because all that sunshine today can, with the lower humidity, will make it feel fantastic. Not just today, but for the next several days going into the weekend. Last of the clouds and showers long gone. And after quite a wild week of severe weather, specifically on Tuesday, with now 3 confirmed tornadoes that touched down in New Jersey. Ken will give you more details on that in just a bit, I'm sure. Look at all of the clear sky that's working our way, thanks to the front that is pushing out to the east. Beautiful clear sky moves in, not just for today, but all day tomorrow and all day Saturday. We really get a winning forecast ahead. Even throughout Sunday, I think we start off nice and dry, maybe a few clouds return. Even the tropics are quiet. This is that hurricane kryptonite, the Saharan dust, which as long as it's present prevents any hurricane formation. You don't see much in the Gulf, but there's more moving in that direction. And while it's pretty dense right now over the Atlantic Basin, as it moves eastward, working back up toward the Gulf, where Bertha is just hanging on as a minimal tropical storm, I think we'll enjoy the clear sky and quiet weather down in the tropics, at least for the next few days. We've got more details ahead on what to expect into next week's weather, Ken. That's coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Mike, we have a lot in terms of traffic happening right now, so we appreciate that. We had 61 degrees right now, I should mention, in northern New Jersey, and in Trenton at 63. Los Angeles now, it is 68 degrees. It is 65 degrees in San Diego. In terms of traffic, let's go right over to Route 17. We have a fuel spill now northbound north of Glen Avenue, Paramus. The right lane and right shoulder are closed. That's a mess. It's going to be there a while. Now, for those who were driving home on Route 46 through Little Falls yesterday, you know what a mess it was. It was actually closed for a bit because there was, I believe, either a bus or a truck that was on fire. I think it was a bus that was on fire. And that was right in the middle from 4 to 6 p.m. afternoon rush. Absolute mess. Well, guess what? Right now, crash with injuries, Route 46, westbound, west of Browertown Road, Little Falls, all lanes closed. So this is exactly where it happened last evening, except last evening it was in the other direction. It was as you were coming home. Now it's as you're going to work. You shouldn't be on the shoulder, people. Don't do that. You're going to get caught. Shouldn't do that. Just wait. We also have issues now on the Pulaski Skyway, disabled vehicle southbound by Broadway in Jersey City, right lane closed. For those who don't know, the Pulaski Skyway is an elevated roadway and there's no shoulder. So if you have a breakdown, the whole lane is gone. And the only way to get there is from the only lane that's open. And if people are jammed bumper to bumper traffic, good luck. That's the problem there. And then on Route 9, we have a down pole. Both directions impacted south of Main Street in Middle Township. All lanes are closed. Right now, our Hudson River crossings, we have an absolute mess. If you look at the Lincoln Tunnel approach right now, you can see right there it looks open. Once you get around the to the helix, it is stopped. It is very, very heavy. So right now it's about 35 minutes in at this early hour. The Holland Tunnel, Route 139 from the Turnpike into the tubes, is stopped as well. Look at this, all across, absolutely stopped. That is a video signal. That's not a still picture. It looks like a still picture. That's now 45 minutes in at 7 a.m. Eastern time. That's crazy. Let's go over to the GWB. Now we have a different camera today on the GWB. It's not the regular cam that we like to show you, but here's what we have. It's a wide cam. So this is 2.5 miles before New York City. So yeah, it could look wide open, and then the minute you get around the bend, it's heavy. We're told it's 25 minutes in right now. So that's actually not bad. This is your best choice of the morning if you're headed if you're headed into Manhattan is the GWB. That's going to be the fastest. Over to Los Angeles, we have a collision to tell you about. This is in South LA at Compton Avenue and East Imperial Highway. And we have a collision now in South LA at 135th and Avalon. And then we have a hit and run, no injuries, in Baldwin Park at Normandy Court and Ward Terrace. Finally, we have a road closure just reported East LA at the 10 and Delmar Avenue off ramp. All right, so it's a busy day traffic wise. Heck of a way to start. In the news, President Trump threatens strikes on Iranian infrastructure if shipping attacks continue. And that's exactly what he did. He went after a power plant and a bridge, and he's going to continue doing that night after night on the 12th straight overnight last night of attacks on Iran to go after them, pardon me, for killing killing directly 2 U.S. service personnel and indirectly 1 because of disarming a drone's bomb. And it went off. That ordinance went off, killing the 3rd person. He warned bridges and power plants would become future military targets. The U.S. launched another round, as I mentioned, of attacks against Iranian military sites. And Iran has now warned stronger retaliation would follow attacks on its nuclear facilities. So first they told us for 20 years, we don't have any nuclear facilities. Then we find the nuclear facilities, we bomb them, and they sign 100 agreements. They won't do anything to do with nukes. No more. We're done with our nukes. They even said we can come in and take their nuclear dust. Well, as it turns out, now it appears they took that nuclear dust, which they claimed didn't even exist, and they moved it into what's called Pickaxe Mountain, deep into another mountain. And now they're saying, yes, we're producing nuclear bombs. So all the asses who said, there's no, well, who are you going to believe now? Iran is saying, yeah, we're making nuclear bombs and we got the dust. So, this is why we went in there. So for all the Republicans and Democrats alike, both, all my very conservative friends are like, we should have never done Iran. We should have never done Iran. Well, the option would have been having a nuke coming right for New York City. Would you have liked that? This is the option, folks. It sucks. It's the economy is impacted. All right. For you Republicans, could end up losing the House and the Senate because people are short-sighted. It's about what's on my dinner table tonight. What can I buy at the mall this weekend? It's not about the long term. And I blame Republicans and Democrats alike for this. You have to be long-term focused. All right. I have very highly placed senator friends who are U.S. senators who are Democrats, 3 of them actually. And they all say quietly, yeah, we were going to have to deal with this eventually. But they're happy that it's being dealt with on Trump's terms because now their guy or woman gets in down the line in a few years, they don't get blamed for it. It'll be dealt with. But of course, publicly, Republicans and Democrats now have to distance themselves because they are feckless, both the elected officials we have in this country. Regional tensions disrupted shipping and pushed oil prices higher. That's going to happen. You'll see the gas is now over $4 a gallon. Officials say diplomatic efforts remain possible, which you can't trust Iran in diplomatic efforts. We've tried. And the deal between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia would allow Saudi Arabia to develop a civilian nuclear energy program. The Saudis you could trust, as far as you could throw them. American companies could help build uranium enrichment facilities worth billions of dollars. Critics worry the agreement could increase Saudi Arabia's future nuclear weapons capabilities. I mean, nice people there now that we're getting along with. And then the people overthrow the leaders and put in something radical, and this is what you get. The proposal will require congressional review before taking effect, and Saudi-Israeli diplomatic normalization is reportedly not part of the agreement. You would have thought that would have been automatic. Former Venezuelan dictator Nicolás Maduro returned to court on federal drug trafficking charges. Maduro and his wife pleaded not guilty after their January arrests. Prosecutors accuse Maduro of helping transport cocaine into the United States. His attorneys argue his capture violated international law and due process. Both remain jailed without requesting release before trial. A 5th person has died during Manhattan's Legionnaire's disease outbreak. This is apparently happening at the epicenter 2 blocks from where I went to high school, Lexington and 86th, which is right by the subway. As literally you get off the 86th Street 6 train. You can get right off the 456, actually. You can get off at 86th, right by this building. Health officials found live bacteria in dozens of building cooling towers in that area. The outbreak has sickened 82 people across the Upper East. Officials believe multiple contaminated cooling towers contributed to the outbreak. Positive cooling towers have already been disinfected and cleaned. It's got to be done faster. Health officials say the outbreak now appears to be under control, they think. So you can't catch it from somebody who's coughing near you. It's got to come from contaminated water. And with the heat waves, 2 of them that we've had, the water sitting in the water tanks on the roofs of those buildings, those tanks have stagnant water, not being cleaned, not being purified. You then inhale the fumes of the water as it's coming out of your shower. And then what ends up happening is you get infected. That's how it happens. Graphic crime scene images were shown during singer David's preliminary hearing. Prosecutors allege that he murdered and dismembered 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The singers pleaded not guilty to all charges. Investigators described evidence including chainsaws, body bags, and other purchased items. Celeste's parents attended court despite emotional photographs, and the hearing will determine whether the case proceeds to trial. An independent autopsy found Nolan Wells' death remains officially undetermined. The forensic pathologist could not rule out possible foul play. State autopsy results remain pending while investigators continue reviewing evidence. Wells disappeared during a July 4th gathering on Mississippi's Horn Island. The family continues demanding answers about the circumstances surrounding that young man's death. It is 11 minutes past the hour. Hollywood's historic Cinerama Dome will reopen after years of closure. Alamo Drafthouse will operate the restored theater and neighboring cinema complex. Sony Pictures plans on reopening the landmark early 2028. The iconic geodesic exterior, don't get to say geodesic or geodesic. It's fun. It's a high school term. And famous logo gets preserved. The theater will continue supporting large format 70 millimeter film presentations, which if you have not seen, a film in 70 millimeters, which each frame is that big. I'm a film major. That's what my degree was in. It's unbelievable how much clearer and larger you get that theater screen. The dome closed during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2021. If you could see The Odyssey in 70 millimeter IMAX, there are only 25 theaters in the country that have it. Check it out. It's worth it. If you can get a ticket right now, they're sold out. 13 minutes past the hour. When we come back, air travel demand continues to grow, but one of the biggest challenges facing the aviation industry is a nationwide shortage of air traffic controllers. We will talk about that. Plus, meteorologist Mike Favetta's full Garden State forecast and the forecast for our friends in California and Florida. And we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Thursday. We are live in New Jersey and New York East. We're also welcoming our good friends in California, Los Angeles, San Diego, specifically with our new channel on LACA. Actually, it's almost a year now, a new channel anymore, but it still has that new channel smell to it. And the real new channel is on FLA in Florida. We welcome all the folks up and down the coast of Florida. 15 minutes past the hour. We will take calls at 888-658-0234. Now to our dear friend, or at least he was a dear friend 3 minutes ago. I think he's still our dear friend, Mike Favetta, cast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
You know, Mike, as time passes, I get concerned. I hadn't heard from you in 3 minutes, so my fear was that maybe something changed.
That's an eternity in
Good
streaming
morning.
time, isn't
Yes.
it? Yes.
In TV, yes. TV and streaming, it is an
So,
eternity.
we've got plenty of great weather today. So, yeah, I think the weather is our friend throughout this afternoon, yet again, and tomorrow and Saturday, as we enjoy a healthy dose of sunshine after all those clouds over the last few days. Look at that clear sky that keeps rolling on in. All of these clouds and showers stay well to our south. It's really a problem for southeastern parts of the U.S. So, those folks in Florida maybe have some showers upcoming this weekend. However, across the Northeast, we are dry and we stay clear, even going into Sunday, probably Sunday night into Monday, our next opportunity for some wet weather, as next week starts off a little bit wet. You can see it here with the longer range forecast. Saturday stays dry, Sunday is beautiful throughout the afternoon, and then going into Sunday evening into Sunday night, some clouds and showers working their way by. So likely a little bit of wet weather on the way to start off next week, and continued rain into Tuesday. That's our best chance for some rain. But I think by Wednesday we start to clear things out and look a little drier beyond that. So a little bit of wet weather to kick off next week, but beyond that, still looking dry. We've got more details coming up on the longer range forecast, Ken, and other locations around the country coming up in a few minutes.
All right. All right, Mr. Mike and his longer range forecast, showing off his long range forecast. It's all about long range forecast for you meteorologists. Okay.
It helps.
We appreciate you, Mike. Mike, thank you very much. It is 17 minutes past 60 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 63 in Trenton to Los Angeles. We go 68 degrees right now. Wow, kind of mild, considering the sun isn't up yet there. 65 in San Diego. In terms of traffic, we still have that fuel spill to report. Route 17, and this is north of Glen Avenue, Paramus. Right lane of 3 lanes and the right shoulder are closed. Do we have the Route 17 camera? I don't know. Maybe not. Okay. We also have a down pole, and this is on Route 9, impacting traffic both directions south of Main Street, Middle Township. All lanes are closed. Also, to the Hudson River crossings we go. Lincoln Tunnel is starting to build just a little bit right now. It's going to cost you about 30 minutes into Manhattan as you take a look. Do we have the Lincoln Tunnel? We go. I knew we'd get a shot. All right, Lincoln Tunnel. We do have. You can see just as at the top of the screen is where the helix begins. So that's starting to build right now. The Holland Tunnel approach is really ugly, and this is Route 139, making your way from the Turnpike to the Tubes. Holland Tunnel's been heavy all morning. It's rare that you see everything all across the board. They're jammed. 2 of the lanes are actually local lanes, the ones that are moving. Actually, it's 3 lanes moving there, but it's 2 lanes that actually take you into Jersey City proper, not to the Tubes. And even those are heavy. That's not common at 7:18 in the morning Eastern, but that's what you get. It's going to cost you now about 45 minutes in via the Holland Tunnel. Over to the GWB we go. At GWB upper and lower, we only have a 2.5-mile shot. The closer shot camera is up being repaired. But this shot right here shows it looks wide open. It isn't that bad. It's about 25 minutes in. Still your best bet of the 3, but GWB is still going to cost you 25 minutes. Once they round the bend, that's when they hit their brakes. Over to Los Angeles we go. Just a couple of incidents to tell you about because it's still very early, obviously, in LA. We have a collision that occurred in Baldwin Park. This is on the 60 at the 10. Another collision at Compton Avenue in East Imperial in South LA. And we have a collision that just happened South LA at 135th and Avalon. 19 minutes past the hour, air travel demand continues to grow, but one of the biggest challenges facing the aviation industry is a nationwide shortage of air traffic controllers. Joining us this morning is Tim Swick, who is the chair of aviation at Atlantic Cape Community College, to talk about the growing demand for air traffic controllers, what students can expect from the program, and why investing in this workforce matters for the future of all air travel. Good morning, Tim. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Oh, I think a lot of people don't even think about it. They got on a plane, they assume air traffic controllers are there, it's all good. But I think the crisis started back when President Reagan laid off and fired all the air traffic controllers who were going on strike. Did we ever really fully catch up from that point? Because that kind of put us back. I know we took in the military air traffic controllers at that point, but that meant then we didn't have a B team training behind. So it seems to me that since the 1980s, it's been working on a shoestring basically. Am I wrong with that?
No, pretty much that was the beginning of the situation. They basically started brand new with a new set of controllers after the initial firing. So we haven't really caught up from that in the past 40 years. And because we had a lot of people start at the same time, they wind up retiring in a big bunch about 20 years ago. We started again. But nationwide, there's about 25% staffing shortage for air traffic control facilities all across the country.
And people, I think, could never understand the level of expertise and training you need to have to be an air traffic controller. That's why a great program like what you have is so essential. You're talking about thousands and thousands of people's lives at every moment being controlled at the hands of one person who has to have a good day. That one person can't have one bad day and has to be on it. Uh, people think, oh, the planes are so far apart. No, planes fly in pretty much highways in the sky, right? And you have to make sure that they're the right altitude, the right separation. They all want to come into the same few runways. You have to separate them, and then they have issues. And this is at a time when more and more people are flying. So, but we're not hiring more and more controllers yet. We got to step it up. And thankfully, you guys have a great program to train new air traffic controllers. So I know I set you up with a lot there. So why don't you take me through from the beginning to how important your program is for that?
So we're one of about 30 schools across the country that provide an alternative to going to the FAA Academy in Oklahoma City, which is the normal route for controllers. They issue a job posting. The last one was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. They had 12,000 people apply in about 10 hours. Out of that, they'll go through the qualifications and they'll probably get 2,000 people who will wind up at the academy. And this has been one of the things that the General Accounting Office has identified as one of the bottlenecks in the program. You can only put so many people through the academy at one time. They work 2 shifts going through, but because of the shortage of the controllers, there's also a shortage of instructors at the academy. So some time ago, the FAA created what they refer to as the Collegiate Training Initiative, which allowed students at colleges and universities to go through the first part of the training program at the university. That got them preferential hiring because they had already demonstrated that they understood the material and that they would do well in the program. So they got to preferential hiring to go to the academy. About 3 years ago, the FAA created what they call the Enhanced Collegiate Training Initiative, which allows students to go through the entire program, either to be a controller in the tower or to be a controller in an en route air traffic control center. And they can go through an enhanced CTI program at a college or university and then go directly to a facility. So there are right now about a dozen enhanced CTI schools across the country. So effectively what the FAA has been able to do is to make the pipeline about 12 times wider in order to get more controllers in the field.
So smart. So it's almost like a pre-med program. Like you can go to any college for pre-med and you learn all your basics, right? And then you can go to the specific university and get your medical degree. Am I kind of genericizing it enough for people?
That's kind of close. That's a good analogy. Yes.
Good you can deal. Go
and this helps. Yeah. This helps filter out people who find out that they're not interested. You come to school and you do this for a while, you find out that you're not interested, or you find out that you're not good at it. So the advantage is that you can do this at the collegiate stage without taking up one of those precious slots at the academy and having somebody get down there and find out that they're not good at this or they're not interested in this. So once that slot is used, it's gone. So this helps with more throughput of qualified, interested people through the program.
And just so that people, I mean, literally air traffic controllers, you could put on the same level as a doctor or a lawyer because of the amount of training and the amount of hours and the stress levels. And they get, I mean, for what it's worth, they get paid substantially for and starter jobs. I mean, you're talking close 150 to 200,000. Am I wrong? Is that sort of the area that a lot of air traffic controllers can expect a salary once they've done all their training and gotten a little experience?
Once they've done all their training and once they've become what we call a certified professional controller at a facility, the median income is about $150,000 a year.
And they deserve more, as far as they deserve twice that much because of the level of stress. People, I don't think, can ever grasp. Look, I'm one of those aviation geeks, Tim. I watch Captain Steve and all those people on YouTube. I don't know if you see him, and I love all the different aviation shows. I also am the lunatic who likes to watch, not because of the graphic nature of it, but air disasters, because it's like a whodunit and how we avoid problems in the future from what we've had in the past. And so much of that gives you an illustration of the workload, the amount of stress and the workload on these air traffic controllers. And they don't get half the credit that they deserve for the amount of hard work that they do in long hours. So what kinds of specific skills do you say, if somebody's growing up, say they're in their teen years, what would you say is the perfect person who should be going after this program and studying for this?
Probably someone who is good at math, quick math, someone who is good at solving puzzles, and someone who has good spatial relations. If you can see the way situations evolve, so if you can look at stuff happening on a video screen and see and imagine what that screen is going to look like in 30 seconds or in 2 minutes, and be able to plan for that.
And you don't have to be a pilot to be an air traffic controller, but it probably doesn't hurt to have some basic piloting knowledge, right?
Most of the basic piloting knowledge that you need, you actually get during what we refer to as air traffic basics, either at our school or at the academy. We take people basically who have no aviation knowledge at all and give them all of the information they need about how airplanes fly, about what the airplane's capabilities are. So a controller doesn't say, oh, I need you to be 18,000 feet higher in the next 1 mile. You get an idea of what the capabilities are for different aircraft.
And what town are you guys located in Jersey?
So our main campus is in Mays Landing, just outside of Atlantic City. Atlantic Cape Community College also has a campus down in Cape May Courthouse and a campus in downtown Atlantic City.
And do you know the website off the top of your head for people to check it out?
So the website is atlanticcape.edu/aviation.
All right, good deal. Tim Swick, Chair of Aviation at Atlantic Cape Community College. Literally one of the humans and one of the programs who helping to solve the problem, the crisis that we have. And it is a crisis. Lack of air traffic controllers. Train good professional people to keep you safe in the skies. Tim, thank you so much for what you guys are doing, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having us. If you're an aviation geek, come down and visit. You can try our simulator.
I wish I was going to say, I wish I wasn't pushing 60. I would apply myself. I would probably love it because I love aviation and I love what the air traffic controllers do, but I'm near retirement age. So that would work.
You're about 30 years too late to be an air traffic controller, but we'd love to have you as a fan.
I would love to come by and I'll be your publicist. I would love that. All right, Tim, have a great day. Thank you again. Okay.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. It is 29 minutes past the hour. When we come back, New Jersey has a lot going for it. Ideal location, the most densely populated state in the nation, great education system, and we just hosted the biggest FIFA World Cup in history. So why are so many big corporations fleeing? Tom Bergeron, the editor of Binge.com, is going to weigh in on that and more when we come back. Very good morning. 32 minutes past the hour, Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, live on the East Coast and the West, and also to our friends on FLA in Florida. Good morning to all of you. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. It was a little sticky yesterday, right? Stickier than a lot of days, but at least we didn't get the major storms. We had somewhat spotty shower here or there, but nothing significant.
Nothing significant. Even this morning, waking up with a little bit of a wet roadway down across southern New Jersey, as a few sprinkles rolled through last night, but nothing like the heavy rains down along the Gulf Coast. That is due to Tropical Storm Bertha, and you see it right there on the screen, working its way eastward over toward portions of Texas and Houston, right now just south of Louisiana, as it kind of meanders there in the Gulf, but eventually dissipating and just becoming a plain old rainstorm. Then you have these storms out in the Rockies, but it's all about the quiet weather on the West Coast. Lovely air working its way through Southern California this morning and staying that way through the next few days. So another round of clear sky down towards San Diego, LA, not even a marine layer developing as all of that cloud cover stays to the north. So a lovely round of clear sky there without the threat of any rain for you, at least until next week, where that dry weather is enjoyed by all right down through the southwest coast. Now, back here across New Jersey, we stay nice and dry with our weather faring clear over the next several days. It's another round of high pressure that takes over and delivers lovely weather right through Sunday. Monday has some rain, though. We'll talk more about that coming up in a few minutes with your next weather update, Ken.
Very good, sir. Much appreciated. We have a temperature of 62 degrees northern New Jersey, 63 in Trenton, Los Angeles, now 69 degrees, 69 also in San Diego. In terms of traffic, a couple of things to tell you about. Fuel spill Route 17 northbound north of Glen Ave and Paramus, right lane and right shoulder both closed. That's going to be a mess for much of the morning. Route 9 down pole, both directions impacted south of Main Street, Middle Township. All lanes are closed right now. And your Hudson River approaches the Lincoln Tunnel is about 25 minutes in. You can see a bit of a slowdown now. Columbia Avenue camera showing us that. Over to the Holland Tunnel approach. It has been a mess since we started at 7 a.m. Eastern. Route 139 from the Turnpike into the tubes. Just an absolute bumper-to-bumper mess. Look at that. That's entering the tube. The lanes that are moving are local lanes to Jersey City, but the lanes going into the tube are just stopped. GWB, we only have a wide shot about 2.5 miles from Manhattan. Doesn't really give you an accurate picture of what things are going on there, making your way in, but it's still your better bet or your best bet of the three. That's going to cost you about 15 to 20. So not so bad. A lot. It's always nice. I always say if you have a choice between sitting in traffic, getting into a tube, or sitting in traffic and being out in the open, fresh air, there's something psychologically better about being on the approach to the GWB. Just me. All right, 35 minutes past the hour. And we just quickly check a couple of roadways in California. We have a collision just reported, and this is weird. Got a whole bunch of collisions. We have to see if there's fog. I'll ask Mike if there's fog or rain that just happened, because it doesn't usually happen like this. We literally got 9 collisions that happened in the last 15 minutes. So we have a collision right now in Antelope Valley on 14th Street. Collision happened in LA proper at the 5 and Valley View Avenue. Another one on the 605 at the 10 in Baldwin Park. And we have a collision now in South LA at 135th and Avalon. And there are about 6 more in smaller communities. But that's unusual because it's only 4:36 in the morning there. So we want to give you that heads up. It is 7:36 Eastern Time, and New Jersey has a lot going for it. Ideal location between New York City and Philadelphia. It's the most densely populated state, great schools and universities. Just hosted the biggest FIFA World Cup, probably the most successful in history. So why are big corporations fleeing? Plus, those of you who work hard and you owe bills and you're looking at the bill collectors and you're thinking, I don't get paid for another 2 weeks. There's a place changing that, taking us way back to 90 years ago and the way people got paid. Tom Bergeron, founder, owner, and editor of Business in New Jersey Every Day, or Binge, BINJE.com, here to talk about that and more. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Ken. And look, I want to start with history. I think I found out from the previous guest, when we were kids, I was sneaking into Airplane, and you apparently were sneaking into Airport 77, those little disaster pics they used to have that were towering
Yes.
inferno and so much fun on all of those crazy stuff. So I get you on the airplane stuff. That was a pretty cool discussion.
Well, I'm glad we had him on because that he offers, and it's right here in New Jersey, offering a solution to a problem, a very practical solution. So thank goodness. There's your next story on
Absolutely.
binge. There's your next week's story, Tom. We got it.
There
We
you
broke it
go.
right here. So, I know you want to talk about the diner first. So why don't we do that first? This is a big deal because I know a lot of people today, the economy sucks. It just sucks. It's just so stressful. Everything's so expensive. No matter how much you make and how hard you work, it seems you can't catch up. And so there's a place that doesn't make you wait a week or two for your paycheck. Talk about this.
So it's a company called Daily Pay, and it's a new age tech company with an old age idea, which is, why do we have to wait 2 weeks to get our paycheck? And as you know, it's often 3 weeks because there's always that week lag. At a time when maybe a third or half of the people in the country are living paycheck to paycheck. So they've created a cool system where you can get paid on a daily basis. And they did this really neat thing yesterday in New York, and it continues today, where they're reminding people that it didn't used to always be this way. So they took over a diner, they made it, turned the clock back to 1938. 1938, again, I did my history, Ken. Fair Labor Standards Act. That's when we set the
Uh-huh.
minimum wage. That's when we set the minimum hours, where we eliminated child labor. But really, nothing's been done about labor and wages since then. And that's a time when a lot of companies went from paying people every day to every 2 weeks. So to bring the emphasis there, they created this daily pay diner with these really cool items and really cool prices, 25 cents for a burger, just to raise awareness of it doesn't have to be this way. And through their pay system, companies can access pay every day, as well as financial advice, all sorts of good things. And it works for large companies, it works for small companies, it helps tipped employees. So it's just a really great marketing home run on what they did to create a awareness of their product.
In an era when everything's computerized, it seems ridiculous that you should. I get it. Back in 1938, they were talking about the accountant for the company had to add everything, make sure the taxes were deducted. Blah, blah, blah. Today, it's instant. There's no excuse. Everything's computerized. We know the minute the money comes in that day, we know how much is supposed to go to the government, how much is supposed to go to you. You don't need three accountants with the old paychecks machine. You don't need that.
Well,
That's yesteryear. That's 1960s.
and it's not just the technology. They raised the idea of the employee employer relationship, right? So your employee has to come to you and say, hey, I've got a medical bill, I've got a flat tire, I've got this, can I get paid early? When really it's money you've already made. So they say there's a dignity aspect. And look, every company's talking about attraction and retention, and we'll get to that in a second. This is a way where employees feel like the company has their back. And if you get a happy employee, in theory, you're going to have a more productive employee. So really the concept that Daily Pay is doing, and it's around the country, they're really starting to bring into New Jersey. That's where I was introduced to them. They're just good people trying to do good things and help out employees, but not at the expense of the employer, to the benefit of the employer. So I've really enjoyed my conversations with them.
Happy employees mean a good company. You don't want bitter employees working for you because it gets around and people know it. And plus, they don't give their all. A perfect example: rideshare companies. Rideshare companies, you get paid instantly. I know of two different people who their side hustle, I should say, is Lyft. And they were saying that, oh yeah, I cash out at the end of the day. I get money in my account that day. Why not? If they could do
Why
it, if
not?
Lyft can do it, why can't every major corporation making billions of dollars? You can't automatically funnel the money into their accounts. Of course you can. Of course you can. It's a matter of desire. And once companies see that employees are happier this way and they come to work and they're eager and they put in extra time, whatever, I think that'll change. But this is great. I'm so glad you're highlighting that. Fantastic. And they're highlighting it. Wonderful. And now the other issue, now that we're on the economy and money, is New Jersey, if you were to just put it out on a spreadsheet, I don't think, maybe California and New York, outside of them, South Florida to some extent, New Jersey literally checks every box. If I'm a corporate leader and I want to come to the state that has it all, New Jersey is. It's perfect. Why are corporations leaving?
So look, when you do that and you talk about something that's really important, which is education and K through 12 education, New Jersey's at the top of the list. Quality of life, whether you can go to the shore, the mountains, or the show, or sports or entertainment, New Jersey's all on top of that. But business friendliness, taxation of business, making it so businesses are uncertain of what the future is. really hurts down the state. And you just had the CNBC state by state ranking. New Jersey ranked 31st in the country, but they have 10 different metrics. And one of the metrics is business friendliness. And New Jersey was dead last at number 50. And this is a concern. And you're starting to see it. Samsung recently announced that they're going to Texas a year after moving to a new location. Mars Wrigley Confectionery, which had just too much fanfare, opened up a new location in Newark at Ironside, Newark. Beautiful facility to attract young workers, announced that they're moving those people to Chicago. And look, these things come out over time. These decisions weren't made last week. They weren't. You can't blame this on a current administration. This is a lot that's going on. But it raises the point that business leaders say, and that companies shouldn't be considered piggy banks. You can't just keep raising taxes or calling them revenue raisers, which was really insulting. Eventually, they vote with their feet. And the employees, again, we talked about happy employees who are struggling to buy housing, are saying, we're going to go with you to the South or the Southwest. We're going to go to Tennessee or North Carolina and Texas because it's just a better place to have a company. So this is the biggest issue that we thought was going to be the biggest issue that the Sherrill administration would have to deal post-World Cup. We've got a little election issue there that we're dealing with. But this is something that the business community really wants to get in front of her. And they've done a lot of things to meet with the business community to hear their concerns. But the next 6 months are going to be a true telling of how business friendly we can be.
You know, the irony is you had Governor Murphy, who used to be one of the biggest corporate CEOs in the whole freaking country. And yet from a business friendly side, it didn't look like he was very business friendly. It's like, well, I'm done. I'm going to retire now. Bye-bye. Then you get a Mikey Sherrill. I genuinely think from what I'm reading, Mikey Sherrill is the adult in the room versus the Assembly and the Senate in New Jersey, who seem to be a bunch of very eager, let's raise taxes and let's go after confiscatory taxes on the businesses. I think Mikey Sherrill is the one who's saying, step back, take a breath. Both sides have something to say. And it's surprising to many. I think Mikey Sherrill's the one who's going to probably help orchestrate this. We keep our fingers crossed in the next 6 months, because New Jersey has too much to offer for us to be losing major corporations like this. And one, as you said, it's almost like riding the Titanic. It's going to take years before you could move everything in the right direction for corporations. But I think right now, if Mikey Sherrill plays your cards right with this, Mikey Sherrill could come out a hero for New Jersey companies.
Look, there's a lot of challenges here, but really all companies want is what they want anywhere, which is just certainty and understanding, and to know that we're going to have a conversation and that the rules aren't going to change on us 3 months, 6 months, 12 months later. Tell us what the rules are and we'll decide if we want to play by them. That's one issue, but constantly changing or modifying or adjusting the rules, often not in the favor of companies, is another. And that's something that makes people say, we're out of here.
Yeah, you hear that, Trenton? Listen up. Guy knows what he's talking about. He's been in the business for 40 plus years, even though he's only 35. Tom Bergeron, founder, owner, editor of Business in New Jersey Every Day, binge.com, binje.com. Tom, always a pleasure, my friend. Have a great day.
Enjoy the day.
By the way, do you pay yourself each day? Oh, we lost him. Based on the first topic we had. All right. It is 45 minutes past the hour. When we come back, after a breast cancer scare last year, one New Jersey woman transformed a very difficult moment into the inspiration for a business that has quickly become a gathering place for readers across the state. We're coming back in 2. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, 48 minutes past the hour, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike, another semi-decent day, a little sticky, but no major dangerous storms, fortunately, headed our way.
Yeah, a nice, quiet, tranquil period ahead. We love the sunshine that's in the forecast, and it'll take us into the weekend, specifically Saturday and Sunday, with that continued clear sky. All of the sunshine and clear sky forecast for most of the East Coast due to that high pressure that moves in, and here it is on the Futurecast. With all of the clear weather taking over, we are dry through the weekend, not anticipating any rain until at least Monday, and even then, I think Monday will be a light sprinkle with most of the rain occurring by Tuesday. So some wet weather on the way to start next week. But then after that, we get another round of clear sky, which brings back the lovely weather. Speaking of, even through the next few days, you have this low pressure offshore, which may generate some bigger waves. So by the time we get to, say, tomorrow, there could be some rip currents at the beaches, even into Saturday with those storms offshore. As our skies remain fair, it'll be lovely with all that clear sky around lasting through the weekend. As far as temperature, we are quite average across the East Coast. It's all of the warm weather out west that surges. You'll hear about that with the excessive heat going forward through Southern California, the desert Southwest, through the first week of August. And then our weather is forecast to be slightly wetter than average through the next 2 weeks into the first few days of August due to a little bit of a pattern shift. Good news is that puts an end to our extreme drought across some parts of the state, as most of the East Coast is faring a lot better with all that rain, Ken, we've had over the last few weeks. And it's been wet. I keep getting cancel on the sprinklers because the lawns are getting the natural water, which is nice for a change.
There has been more wetness from the rain than both your little boys' diapers at the same time. And add Rocco to that mix. We've had a lot of wet. So anyway, we appreciate it. Mike, no one will know how diapers. What if diapers are like $50 a piece? How expensive are diapers today?
They're a lot. They're a lot. They run anywhere between 50 to 75 cents a piece.
Good Lord. And you go through
Uh-huh.
I mean, the second you
Well,
change the
now it's
baby, they get
double.
wet again.
So it used to be 5 to 7 a day. Now we're probably up to 10 to 14 a day with 2. So it's a lot. But the potty training is going very well. We're doing swimmingly with Fare Pipi nel Vasino, and it's great because he gets his little chocolatino afterwards, and he's very happy. So
The little chocolatino
it's
in
good.
means a little chocolatino out. I'm so glad most people don't know a word that we just said in Italian, but
And that's why we're keeping it that way. We're keeping it that way, right? There's coffee and Cheerios flowing across the state, so we don't want to, spoil the breakfast.
Exactly. You got it. All right. But I'm sure every mommy and daddy out there is not being shocked by it. So it's all
Yeah.
good. And a few of us who are just uncles. We've been there, done that. All right, sir. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it. We'll check back. It is now 61 degrees, northern New Jersey, 63 degrees in Trenton, Los Angeles, 69 degrees, 69 also in San Diego. And we do have a lot of traffic popping up right now. Over to the Jersey Turnpike, we have a disabled truck right now. This is by southbound by exit 70B Teaneck, one left lane block. So as you come into New Jersey from New York City, you come over the bridge, literally within half a mile of getting over the bridge. That's where you hit the exit for 70B, and that's in Teaneck. Left lane is blocked. So that's going to cause a backup into Manhattan for people trying to get into New Jersey. Mostly trucks at this hour coming into New Jersey. After what they do is they go in very early in the morning in Manhattan, drop off the food and the supplies and whatnot. And then at 7, 8 a.m., the trucks coming back into New Jersey are literally going back to the warehouses to restock for tomorrow's delivery. That's how that happens. So if you notice more trucks coming into Jersey at this hour, that's why. They did their deliveries at 5 a.m. We have a fuel spill, Route 17, northbound, north of Glen Ave and Paramus. Right shoulder is closed. There's a down pole Route 9, both directions south of Main Street, Middle Township, all lanes are closed. We have some heavy traffic to tell you about. There are delays on I-80 westbound, west of exit 62. That's the Garden State Parkway interchange in Elmwood Park to east of exit 58, Madison Avenue and Patterson. All lanes are open. Just a lot of traffic right now there. Remember, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are the more trafficked days. Mondays and Fridays, a lot of people still work from home. We have a delay on the Garden State Parkway northbound south of exit 143 to 145, and that's all lanes open, 3-mile delay. And then another delay on the GSP northbound south of exit 149 to south of exit 151. All lanes open. That's a 2-mile delay. Your Hudson River crossings, you don't have to show up, Pam. Lincoln and Holland are both now 35 minutes, and the GWB is only 25. That's actually your best bet as you make your way in because it's pretty much wide open. We only have a distant shot of that anyway. Couple of collisions in LA. We have a collision in LA proper. This is on the 5 at Valley View Avenue, another one on the 605 at the 10, and we have a closure of a roadway now east LA at the 10 and Delmar Avenue off-ramp. Well, sometimes life's biggest challenges can lead to unexpected new beginnings. After a breast cancer scare last year, one New Jersey woman transformed a difficult moment into the inspiration for a unique business that's quickly become a gathering place for readers all across the state. Charity Herndon is the founder of Austin's Shelf, a Jane Austen-inspired bookstore that recently opened its doors in Bordentown. We say good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, it's good to have you on. Thank you. I know we had some technical issues, so that's why we had to delay a few minutes, but I'm glad we got you finally on and working properly here. Take us back to last year. How did your health scare, and I'm sure it must have been terrifying, how did your health scare give you the idea for Austin's Shelf?
Yeah, so last year around this time, I was facing a breast cancer scare. 2 tumors were found on my right breast, and it was one of the most traumatizing and scary moments looking back. I have lost so many family members and family friends close to my age in their 20s to cancer. And so I was kind of faced with that moment of, if I don't live through this, what's something that I would regret never doing? And it was opening a bookstore. And I remember leaving the biopsy appointment, and my husband and I were driving away, and I was just like, hey, I think it's time. I want to open a bookstore. And we didn't have the capital for a brick and mortar at that time. So we started off in a book trailer. We renovated a landscaping trailer during last year's heat wave, and we turned it into a bookshop. And it kind of became a South Jersey staple. So many people just garnered interest and felt at home and in community there. And we ended up being able to turn that tiny mobile bookshop into a brick and mortar in Bordentown that just opened last month. And so it's been dream come true.
What a smart technique. I mean, I know restaurateurs, pizzeria owners, the mobile concept, the truck, because it's much more it's still expensive, right? It's not that it doesn't cost anything, but you're talking about the difference of maybe 50,000 to 100,000 versus 500,000. I mean, there's a big difference, and you could always sell the truck if you had to, whereas it's a lot harder to lose money and sell a business. So from an investment perspective, it makes a lot of sense. And a lot of companies do very well starting off that way. Were you surprised at the fact that it was so successful?
I was. Our first event was at the our local mall, and we had over like 1,000 people come that weekend. And then it just kind of kept growing, which really surprised us because we thought, as time went on, less people would show up, but we would pop up at coffee shops and like harvest festivals. And we actually popped up right across from what we didn't know at the time would be our brick and mortar, and the line there at the Turtle Beans coffee shop, it's called, was over 2.5 hours long. And so people stayed out during the rain and sleet to just walk inside of Austin's Shelf and to find their next favorite read. So the support has just it's been crazy.
Charity, that is so cool. I mean, you literally came up with the concept, and more importantly, you knew your audience. That's business 101. Know your audience, and you knew where to find your audience. A lot of people, that's the biggest mistake. You may have the best pizza in the world, but you don't go to a place where people can't have cheese and try to market your pizza. You knew where your audience was. So smart, and what an inspiration. Now, in less than a year, you opened that brick and mortar. So talk about how that happened and what it was like when you finally unlocked the door that first day.
Yeah, so after the event that we had at Turtle Beans Coffee Roasters in Bordentown, we ended up getting one of the like landlords there in town reached out to us and they said, hey, we have a spot. We noticed how special you are to our town, how fun the concept was. We'd love if you would come and before we list it, to open your bookstore. And so we were kind of faced with another moment of like, do we do this? Do we wait a little longer? And Vince is his name. I mean, they were just so kind and so welcoming. So we kind of just were like, sure. And again, we just have such a supportive community. We launched our GoFundMe and we brought in almost 25,000 towards starting the bookstore in a little over a month. And so we spent the time kind of gutting out that space and going through that renovation period again, ripping out the carpet, painting the walls. And we had our grand opening on June 6th. And again, we saw so many people. The line was all the way around the block, past the post office to the parking lot. And I don't think it's much of what I do. I think it's just people's longing for community. As book lovers, we can be so introverted. And so being amongst people that, understand and love books just as much as you do. And also with a love for Jane Austen, people came dressed up in their Regency attire. And we had a social dance historian teach a dance class. We had a harp performance. It was such a wonderful day, and it's just still been great. The momentum hasn't died down quite yet, thank God.
Lady, you got your finger on the pulse. Every business consultant should come and beg for a moment with you so that they can learn how to do it right. I mean, you literally do it right. And how proud that we are that you are in New Jersey. I'm just I think everyone listening is just so excited for you and for all of us, the fact that you're here. We need to have you back because I feel cheated now. The other 5 minutes we couldn't talk to you because of the technical stuff. So please come back. We want to talk more about it because you do book clubs and all sorts of great stuff we need to talk about. Give everybody the website, please.
Yeah, so you can visit austenshelf.com or follow us on our social media for all things Jane Austen and to find all of the wonderful events that we'll be planning.
You are awesome. Charity Herndon, founder of Austen's Shelf in Bordentown, which is a great community. Thank you so much for coming on, Charity.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Oh my God, what a brilliantly successful, smart, finger on the pulse, turns a tragedy, a potential tragedy around into a success story. That is a perfect lady right there. It is 8:00. For those of you watching on LACA on the West Coast, stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, we will be back live with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Thanks for watching. Mornings, we're coming right back. Good morning, 8:03 on Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Hazy today, maybe a little rain this morning, more in the south. Meteorologist Mike Favetta is going to tell us the details in just a moment.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
So, Mike, is there a shot at maybe an isolated thunderstorm today, or does that look like that's past?
I think we're done with the storms. We are finished with all the rain. We get dry weather, Ken. We get sunshine. Need the sunscreen for a change because we've had the umbrellas for the last few days, especially on Tuesday with all that rain. Now, looking forward to a cooler, drier start with the very comfortable weather that's in place thanks to the lower humidity. And that translates to nice low dew points, even down toward the coast. When they're in the 50s, that feels nice, especially when we're 13 degrees cooler than this time yesterday up in Sussex County, about 10 degrees on average statewide. So with all of these showers that rolled through, the last of them early this morning, right down the shore, we stay dry today. It's a lovely northerly breeze, keeping those clouds far away and allowing for temperatures to warm comfortably into the low 80s. It'll feel lovely right throughout this evening into the overnight tomorrow and Saturday. Both gorgeous days with that clear sky around. And then by Sunday, maybe evening, we get a few passing sprinkles, but the best chance of some rain likely comes in by Monday and especially into Tuesday of next week. So wrapping up this week nice and dry and staying clear through this weekend. Beautiful weather perfection headed into Saturday and Sunday, Ken. So we get about 4 days in a row of really solid weather.
All right. Sounds good, Mike. I'm holding you to it. All right. Go change those diapers. Thank you, sir. It is now 4 minutes past the hour. Temperature 64 degrees in northern New Jersey, 66 degrees in Trenton, it's 63 in Cape May, and we have 65 degrees in Vineland. And New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani said the city lacks authority to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel. Mamdani urged the federal government to enforce the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant, which we don't do. A bunch of lunatics sit on the International Criminal Court. In fact, the head of the International Criminal Court is a rapist, not an accused rapist, a rapist. That's the person running the International Court. We don't deal with the International Court for about 100 reasons, but this is the court that Mamdani wants everybody to follow in the United States. Meanwhile, he doesn't want to follow, as the city of New York's mayor, he doesn't want to follow U.S. federal law in the city of New York, but he wants to follow international law at The Hague, which we don't follow as a country. That's Mamdani. He called Netanyahu a war criminal. He did. Others don't. And unwelcome in New York City. The mayor reversed earlier suggestions that the city's police could make an arrest, probably had a little sit down with Commissioner Tisch, who said, I'm not going to sacrifice police officers in the city of New York who will then be arrested by federal police for breaking law because we have no authority to arrest this guy. So shut up, mayor, and stay in your lane. President Trump said Netanyahu would not be arrested while visiting the United States. Israeli officials criticized Mamdani's remarks, calling them politically motivated and inappropriate. Residents believe a long-time landfill is causing a growing cancer cluster in Keyport. Independent testing detected elevated dioxin levels exceeding federal health screening thresholds. Previous state testing also found benzene, arsenic, lead, and vinyl chloride, PCBs too. Residents accuse environmental officials of ignoring contamination concerns for decades. The state says it found no confirmed pathway exposing residents to pollutants. Community members continue demanding additional testing, accountability, and cleanup efforts. I mean, the way it happens, apparently the soil was tested. I know that News Nation did a great piece. If you haven't looked at News Nation, you should check them out. News Nation did an incredible piece on this, an investigative piece, where they sampled the soil and found that the soil came back with contaminants. Look, you're going to find contaminants near highways because of emissions from cars. It just happens. But the levels were higher than they would normally be, and that has to be investigated because all you need to do is walk along the soil and then walk into your house and carry that contaminated soil in, and maybe you didn't wash your hands perfectly. Now you go to eat, and now you've put whatever the contaminant is into you, and you do that day in and day out, or then you walk barefoot on the carpet that has some of those contaminants on the carpet because you stepped with your outdoor feet, your outdoor shoes. Now that stuff gets into your bloodstream. And you do that year after year after year, and it builds up. That stuff could get stored in fatty tissues in some cases, not all, but in some cases, and then eventually seeps out. So you could have ingested it 2 years ago and it gets stored. But doctors know a lot more about this than me. I certainly don't profess to be a medical expert. I'm not. But this is certainly something that needs more investigation because the people of Keyport deserve it. I think every community deserves that, when it comes to having a safe environment, not full of chemicals and contaminants. And the folks of Keyport definitely deserve an investigation. It is 8 minutes after 8. New Jersey officials celebrated the FIFA World Cup's successful economic and community impact. 5 group stage matches generated $2.1 billion in statewide economic activity. More than 645,000 fans attended 8 matches at MetLife. Of course, then it was called New York, New Jersey, or we like to call it New Jersey, New York Stadium. Officials praised the transportation, security, businesses, volunteers, and regional coordination throughout the tournament. The World Cup showcased New Jersey's ability to host major international events, and a final economic impact report will include additional tournament spending and revenue. New Jersey Transit approved its largest operating budget, totaling $3.5 billion this fiscal year. The budget increased 11% compared with the previous fiscal year. Remember, they have a built-in hike in the cost of your tickets every year. They built it in so that they don't have to get criticized. It's kind of a cost, what we call a COLI. They do it for the federal government too. Cost of living increase. So automatically it just goes up by a couple of percent each year. So your ticket price goes up by a couple of percent, and you can't blame that head of New Jersey Transit because, this was enacted 5 years ago. I have nothing to do with it. See the game? That's the game. Suppose you don't need a 2% increase for expenses. So what they do is they predict they're going to have that much more money in revenue, and then they just invest, quote unquote, invest in things. In other words, they spend more money than they probably should because they don't have to tighten the belt because they get a 2% increase in your tickets. See how it works? See the game? Officials cited rising labor costs and declining corporate tax revenue challenges. Annual 3%, I said 2%, 3% automatic fare increases remain part of the agency's funding strategy. Transit advocates requested public hearings before future fare increases take effect. Good, you should. The agency also approved $1.7 billion for capital improvements and infrastructure projects. So this is something you can't blame Governor Sherrill on. This is NJ Transit and the previous administration's little game, cute little game. I mean, I get it. It's expensive, but you know what? If you need to subsidize a train system, then maybe we need to take another look at the way the train system is run. That's all I'm saying. New Jersey lottery sales increased nearly 5% during the latest fiscal year. Total ticket sales reached $3.49 billion, exceeding the previous year's performance. The lottery contributed more than $1 billion to the state's pension system. Scratch-off games remain the lottery's most popular and profitable products. People love to give them as gifts, right? Put about 10 scratch-offs into a birthday card and you're done. Powerball sales, by the way, increased while Mega Millions and Picket games declined. I wonder why. Now Mega is, I noticed Mega is the larger jackpot, so we'll see what happens. Powerball, remember, now spread out to the UK. You can now buy a US Powerball ticket in London if you want. It's interesting. We'll see how that impacts things because England, Great Britain, I should say, not just England, but Great Britain is like 90 million people. So we'll see how that impacts things. Lottery officials credited strong sales despite increasing competition from other gambling options like Kalshi and things like that. Government signed legislation banning algorithm-based rent-setting software statewide. The FAIR Act targets software that's accused of artificially inflating apartment rental prices. Basically, it's a type of collusion, that's what she said, where all the different landlords can kind of see what they're all charging and kind of fix the price. Well, that would be illegal if you did it publicly. So how is it less illegal doing it with an app? So this is why Governor Sherrill, another for Governor Sherrill. Good. Order law prevents landlords from coordinating rent increases through algorithms. The legislation follows ongoing state and federal investigations into the organization RealPage and landlords. The Attorney General will create an online portal for reporting alleged violations. The new law takes about a year after its enactment. And Mars Wrigley, the candy company, they're going to close their remaining Newark headquarters operations by late 2027. The company plans on eliminating 307 corporate positions during the transition. Many headquarters functions will relocate to Mars' expanded Chicago global headquarters. The Chicago expansion follows a previously announced $100 million company investment. Mars said that relocation opportunities and transition assistance will be offered to employees. The company will continue investing in manufacturing and innovation operations in Hackettstown, New Jersey. Let's hope we don't lose them altogether like Samsung and ExxonMobil and all the other major corporations leaving New Jersey because of the confiscatory taxes here. It is 13 minutes past the hour, temperature 64 degrees. When we come back, access to healthcare can make all the difference for expecting and new parents, but for many families, simply getting to appointments can be a major challenge. We're coming back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It's 8:15, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full Garden State forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
Hello, Mike. Well, here, I'll plant a seed in the back of your head because we may have a
Okay.
guest issue. So, would you be prepared? Here, I'll just ask you on the air because why shouldn't you?
Would I
If we
be?
talk
Are
a
you
little
kidding me?
about,
I'm elated, Ken. Elated. We have so many bugs to talk about. The list goes on and on and on because, our Viking sponsor, really has so many resources that you, the homeowner, or if you see little creepy crawlies around your home, you can call them up and they'll take care of it. And we've got the details as to what bug season we're in because there's actual bug seasons where the predominant bug is proliferating. We'll talk about that in just a bit. I don't want to, give the whole segment away. So with that, we start off with the clear sky right now. It is beautiful this morning with visibility clear and unlimited, nice and dry with the lower humidity clearing out all the humidity from the last few days and bringing back a lovely round of sunshine, low 80s today down across central New Jersey, even toward the coast. It stays nice and clear throughout this afternoon and this evening, and the dry weather just keeps on rolling in with that lovely northerly breeze, even through tomorrow. A 49-degree dew point, that's more like October weather. So we get this really refreshing feel each morning, and the afternoons stay very pleasant, even at the coast. not anticipating that muggy weather even through Sunday. So our forecast keeps the skies nice and clear. UV back up at an 8, which is very high. Need the sunscreen today, even though it doesn't feel that hot. That UV could get you, especially this late in the season, with everyone out and trying to get the last glimpse of summer before it's all back to school shopping. We've already seen the ads, how September right around the corner. I mean, kids go back in 6 weeks. It's close. It's coming up quickly. And with temperatures climbing into the mid 80s tomorrow and Saturday, looks great. I think Sunday could have a few late afternoon sprinkles, especially across western New Jersey. Those linger into the night. And then Monday begins a kind of a wet pattern that takes us into the next few days, especially Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So enjoy the continued clearing right through this weekend. Really looks pretty upcoming on Saturday and Sunday. We'll talk more about the bugs, Ken, coming up in just a few minutes.
And thank goodness, if you intend on keeping a bug as a pet, setup. Viking will teach you proper bug control techniques. So, in other words, if you want one bug as a pet, but not 10 million, Viking will make sure that that's the case. So, I've used Viking for years. I think they're fantastic, and not just because they're a sponsor. I have used. They could check the records; they'll see. I've used Viking for years at all my homes, and it's been a great result for me. So. Anyway, that's just a little heads up to people. Thank you very much, sir. Mike, it is 66 degrees, northern New Jersey, 66 in Trenton. It's 65 degrees now in Cape May and 67 degrees in Vineland. Pardon me. In terms of traffic, we have a bunch of different things happening. Pam, you could take the GSP first if you have it. We have delays right now in the Garden State Parkway. It's not an accident, but just volume delays. And this is, you could see the folks right there. This is by exit 89A on the Garden State Parkway. This is Route 70 exit east in Lakewood Township, north of, from there to north of exit 90. So about 2 miles, 3 miles actually. All lanes are open, but this is all the way into Brick. It's just very slow. And you could see, and I think a lot of that is, see how the sun is in front of them and to the right, causing a shadow behind them and to the left. So they're driving into the sun. And that is not unusual. Whenever we have a situation where they're driving to that morning sun, that happens. So everybody's going like 25 miles an hour, and that's a good 3-mile delay as a result. Other issues on the Garden State Parkway, we have another slowdown. Again, no accident, just a slowdown. Northbound GSP from south of exit 135 Central Avenue to north of exit 137, which is in Cranford. All lanes open, 3-mile delay there. Route 24, we have a delay. This is northbound from exit 1 to north of exit 37. My gosh, how is that possible? Yeah, that's what it says. Exit 1, County Road 511, Whippany in Morris Township to north of exit 37, Hanover. All lanes open, just very slow through there. Another incident of driving into the sun, I think, as it goes northeast. So you get that sun. Disabled tractor trailer now westbound mid-span George Washington Bridge, but it's causing some eastbound rubbernecking delays for those of you headed into the city. We have a disabled truck on the turnpike, local lane southbound at exit 70B. So once you coming over the bridge mid-span, there's an accident. Then once you come into New Jersey, it's all westbound traffic. Once you come into New Jersey, there's another truck disabled there on the Jersey side. This is not directly impacting eastbound traffic going into the city, but rubbernecking is happening. People are tapping their brakes. Fuel spill now, Route 17 northbound, north of Glen Ave and Paramus, right shoulder closed. On Route 9, we have a down pole, both directions impacted south of Main Street, Middle Township, with all lanes closed. Hudson River crossings, it's now 45 minutes solid, Lincoln and Holland, GWB upper and lower levels, eastbound rather. Let's take a look. Oh, sorry, Pam, to do that too. I'm just trying to wrap it. If you look at the GWB upper and lower, okay. Oh, so there is the truck. That's the truck we were talking about. So that's westbound. Yep, thank you, Pam. That is westbound you're looking at. That's people coming from the city into New Jersey, and that's where that truck is. So you see how people are slowing down as a result. Eastbound, if they widen it out, the lower right corner of our screen is the eastbound you can't see. It's out of view. Eastbound, they are brake checking, but it's not causing massive problems right now. It is 22 minutes after 8. Access to healthcare can make all the difference for expecting and new parents, but for some families, simply getting to appointments can be a major challenge. Joining us is Lisa Asare, who is the president and CEO of the New Jersey Maternal and Infant Health Innovation Authority, to discuss the expansion of NJMIHIA rides. It's harder to say the acronym or the abbreviation than it is to say the actual name. and how it helps improve maternal and infant health across the state. First off, good morning to you. And I know that as tough it is as it is for expectant moms, because God, just to move when you're especially seventh, eighth, ninth month, just to move hurts. It's just tiring. But then Northern New Jersey at least has some transportation. Southern New Jersey, it's almost impossible, isn't it?
Absolutely. I live in the South, so this Southern New Jersey has real transportation challenges. And what we find is that this is what prevents people from getting to prenatal care or postpartum care. So transportation is a critical resource. We want to make sure people have access to services. And so this is where this MIA rides came into place.
I like this short MIA. I'll take that as opposed to the NJMIHIA. It's like NJMIHIA.
I'm with you. It's NJ MIA. We call it MIA. But MIA was really created to really help maternal and infant health, really help pregnant women, help new infants. And we certainly recognized very early on that transportation was an issue.
Heck yeah. I mean, I look, even if they had cars, it's difficult. But without a vehicle, I just can't even imagine how hard it is. So transportation may not be the first thing that a lot of people think about when it comes to maternal care and both prenatal and postnatal. But this is a big, big barrier. What is being done? I mean, is the state doing anything to help fix that in South Jersey?
So we leveraged a partnership with the Department of Transportation and the Department of Labor and a group called Go Trenton to provide these free electric rides to women in the Mercer County area. And so these rides are free. You have a QR code, you really scan, you tell them where you're going. Most of the appointments have really gone to hospitals and the healthcare system. But some people need appointments to Walmart, to buy diapers, to buy, basic household goods. And so we've seen the program really take off. It was launched in December. We've had about 1,600 rides delivered since then. Over 2,000 people have benefited from the rides program. So we're really excited. People have seen a need for it, and we are expanding within Mercer County as well.
I see you're expanding into Hamilton and Ewing. By the way, who is eligible? How do you sign up for it, and who is eligible for it?
So eligibility, you just need to be a pregnant woman or a new mom. And you can sign up through the app. There is a Go Trenton app that you can sign on with. You also can go to our website to get information. And a lot of our community-based organizations are promoting this resource. And so, if you go to a WIC appointment, they have information about it. I've talked to some of our local doulas who say they see the flyers in the OB gynecologist's office. And so we're really trying to flood the environment with this free resource so that people who are eligible can really use it. And we've seen tremendous interest in this resource, not only for pregnant women, but it's also for perinatal workers. So doulas, community health workers, lactation consultants, people who are accompanying and supporting pregnant women and new moms are also able to avail themselves of this transportation resource.
We need healthy babies. Listen, you don't take care of a baby's health leading up to and immediately post-pregnancy, you're going to end up with a very sick child and a lot more expenses later and a big problem in society. We need to take care of the babies. This is our future. This is a no-brainer. What has the response been like?
Incredible response, tremendous response. I mean, there was such a need. We spoke to the community and they said transportation was an issue, so we looked to help resolve that. So when we see the rides have taken off and we see the satisfaction rate amongst users is like a 4.9 out of 5, it's really encouraging. It tells us that, we are meeting a critical need. Healthy pregnancies begin with access. Just as you said, it begins with access and it begins with support. And transportation is certainly part of that list of supporting cast that is required to make sure that moms and babies stay healthy and well. Our mission at MIA is to create a world where mothers and babies flourish. And we think that, transportation is part of that. Transportation is certainly part of that.
Absolutely. Lisa, tell us the website for people to get more information.
Absolutely. It is www.njmihia, that's njmia.gov.
I got it committed to memory now, Lisa. I got it. That's awesome. Listen, you know what? Thank you so much for what you do for caring for moms and expectant moms and just post pregnancy moms, and it's so essential. And God bless you, and you're doing yeoman's work. So much appreciated.
Thank you so much, Ken, for having me. I really appreciate your time and your interest in this critically important topic. Thank you.
Essential, essential. Lisa Asari, President CEO of the New Jersey Maternal and Infant Health Innovation Authority. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye bye now.
Bye bye. It is now 61 degrees, 8:28. When we come back, summer means more time at the pool and the beach and the lake, but it also serves as a very important reminder about safety in the water. You got to know what you're doing. You got to keep an eye on kids. We're going to talk about that next. Morning, it's Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. 61 degrees right now, 8:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
So I noticed that with all the humidity that we had last night, the
Hmm.
buggies were
Yeah,
out again, weren't
they
they? So why don't we
were.
talk about
Uh-huh. Saw a little mosquito trying to bite me last night as I were, just sitting outside, trying to enjoy the evening. And that is why we're in the peak of that mosquito season, especially July through September. So these are the summer pests, and we're starting to enter spotted lanternfly season too. Even though they don't really bother us, except be a little bit of a nuisance, it's more so for agriculture. So if you have gardens, for instance, that tends to be more of an issue. The stink bugs, the ladybugs, they're all here. You can find more information on Viking's website. But regarding the next few days, the pest activity is at the moderate level because it's a little bit drier. So whereas it was a little bit higher over the last few days with the humidity, the dry air taking over, making it feel much better over the next few afternoons, even through the evenings with the clear picture on the satellite, keeping us dry today. Nice, fantastic weather out toward the beaches and a northerly breeze preventing those bugs from and those biting flies for you out at the beaches today and tomorrow, I think will fare rather nice, even with an afternoon sea breeze rolling in each day. The pollen count's still at the low level, maybe start to get a little elevated toward the grasses, especially the landscaping crews are back out because it's been so wet the last few days. Getting to a high today of maybe hitting 90, but the average high is 87. There will be some locations that are a little bit warmer. Beyond that, it's a seasonable feel, and that's the key, especially for the next few afternoons with water temperatures warming nicely there toward Cape May up to 77. Atlantic City getting a little bit of upwelling. That's why the temperature dropped quite a bit, but I think we'll see that warm up as well. And no severe weather outlook today, which is really nice considering we're dry for the next several days. Next chance of rain, Monday, but I think Tuesday is the wetter day next week of the two, Monday and Tuesday. So through the next few afternoons, we stay clear thanks to this high pressure. It prevents any storms from forming, keeps all of this rain down to the south and east, maybe get a little bit of an extra rip current by the time we get to Saturday and Sunday, thanks to those storms offshore. But beyond that, we're nice and clear and staying that way throughout the weekend, even into Sunday. So the 7-day forecast looks beautiful with high temperatures climbing into the low 80s, keeping it pleasant with a low level of humidity. Monday, start to see some extra clouds, maybe a quick sprinkle, but Tuesday looks to be pretty rainy, and then we're back to dry weather by Wednesday. The shore points look decent as well. Down the shore, lots of sunshine into the first part of next weekend.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you. It's 63 degrees northern New Jersey, 66 in Trenton, 62 in Cape May, and 65 now in Vineland. And in terms of traffic, we have a lot of it. We just found an accident now on Route 78. This is impacting local lanes westbound east of exit 50. This is by Vauxhall Road in Union Township. As Pam, our director, says, it's always Vauxhall Road. Left lane of the 3 lanes closed. We literally, you could pick any day of the week, you'll find an incident on Vauxhall Road. Let me just cough. Excuse me. Pardon me. Thank you. We have a disabled tractor trailer, and this is on Lyle King Street westbound by Bay Avenue in Elizabeth. That's a big intersection, which is why, even though it's a local intersection, we mention it. Left lane is blocked through there in Elizabeth. We have a disabled truck on the turnpike, and this is by I-95 local lane southbound exit 70B. So as you come in from New York into New Jersey, you're going to pass that, but that's causing rubbernecking on the eastbound side. We also have problems on Route 17. There's a fuel spill northbound at Glen Ave and Paramus, right shoulders closed. Downed pole on Route 9 impacting traffic both directions south of Main Street. In Middle Township, all lanes are closed through there. In the Hudson River crossings, you can show it, Pam, if you'd like. The Lincoln Tunnel approach, this is the Helix approach on 495 right now. It's kind of heavy. You'll see, they gave us a really wide shot. That's, of course, they give it when we want to show it, we can't. But you can't even see it. I don't know why they even show that. That's silly. It's just a shot of the downtown skyline of Weehawken, if there is a downtown. That's it right there. Bottom line is it's going to cost you about 35 minutes in from into the Lincoln. Holland Tunnel, this one we can show, and this is pretty ugly. That is just bumper to bumper, 45 minutes into the Holland Tunnel. GWB upper and lower levels. Again, we don't have a close shot today. Again, they're working on all the cameras. The wide shot is 2.5 miles away, but you could see just starting to build. And there's that wreck you could see that we talked about. It's not causing major problems, fortunately, but it's going to cost you about 20 minutes into Manhattan by the GWB. That's your best bet. 8:35, and summer means more time at the pool, the beach, and the lake, but it also serves as an important reminder about water safety. Drowning remains one of the leading causes of accidental death for young children, and experts say building strong swim skills early can save lives. Lindsay Pinella is the general manager of Big Blue Swim School in Watchung to share practical tips that can help families stay safe in and around the water all summer long. Good morning. Good to have you on.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Ken. How are you?
Well, good. Speaking as a guy who, my dad at the age of when I was 2, he had me in the pool and did the same for my brother, and literally was right next to us and dunked us and got us used to being in the water and used to having our faces in the water. Why? Because my mother, just the opposite, was terrified of the water. So my dad knew that if mom took us to the beach, she might have a problem rescuing us if need be. So he made sure that from 2 and 3 years old, we were comfortable in the water. How important is that to know that kids have water skills at an early age?
Yeah, that's great that your dad did that for you. There's different approaches to getting kids feeling safe around the water. Dunking them is one of them. And like you mentioned, the leading cause of death for 1 to 4-year-olds is drowning. And it can be a scary thing to think about and talk about. But if we prepare kids with the right safety skills, it can be an easier conversation. So it's really important to get kids started early. We start here at Big Blue Swim School in Watchung at 3 months old, believe it or not, Ken. So it's important to get kids started early, and consistency is really great for kids with swim lessons.
And if you think about it, an infant, prenatal, you spend 9 months in a womb full of water. So it's very natural, a natural feeling. And I remember reading something from an OBGYN talking about the fact is the longer you separate the child, the infant, from the water, the quicker they forget, right? And the more they forget. So the earlier you get them used to being back in water, they're comfortable with it. Infants feel that's at home for them, right?
Yeah, and you'd be very surprised. These 3-month-old to 2 years old who are in the baby classes, parents come in understandably nervous, but once they do their first submersion, it's shocking how natural it comes to smaller babies, younger babies, excuse me. So it's great to start kids as early as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we think right away about, oh, well, I'm not going to have my kid at the ocean at that age, but you could drown in a bathtub, right? Kids need to have abilities around water and know how to save their own lives and know what's safe and what's not.
Yeah, and some things that parents can keep in mind for this summer is teaching kids to do a back float. It only takes a second for someone to look away and for a child to be in danger. Another tip for parents, there may be lifeguards when they're at the community pool or beach. Having a designated water watcher, someone without a cell phone in their hands or having conversation, keeping an eye on kids. There's no harm in having an extra set of eyes on the pool or body of water that you're having your kids swim in.
The community pool by me, they have 2 lifeguards on because there are a lot of kids, families with kids, and the lifeguards are at opposite ends of the pool. And it's not that huge a pool, but and they're not allowed to have a phone. And these kids, I say kids, they're late teens, but more power to them. They keep their eyes locked on that pool. But as an adult without kids, when I'm swimming, I always, I don't want to stare at kids. That looks a little creepy, stranger danger. But I always keep an eye out because, I got it. The whole monitoring bracelet thing. But sometimes it shocks me in the pool. But no, for real. Every adult should make sure that if kids are, playing, if they wander toward the deep end, which I see all too often. I mean, I know usually kids who are in a pool already probably have some knowledge and comfort around water. But all it takes is a second where one gets a little too rough with the other, and then boom, a second can turn into tragedy, right?
Yeah, of course. It only takes a second, and we picture someone drowning or going underwater as thrashing or yelling for help before they go under. It can be so quick and it can be silent, so it's really important for the adults, the lifeguards, anybody around the pool to keep an eye on kids. But it's also important to equip your kids with those skills to teach them to get back to the wall, to grab the wall, to do the back float. And that's what we focus on at Big Blue Swim School. We also focus on giving kids the confidence in water so that, they're not scared to go in the pool, but there is a bit of a healthy fear. So they know to get back to the wall or do a back float or whatever they need to do to keep themselves safe if they're ever in a situation like that.
Lindsay, how long would a typical series of lessons be? Is it 1, 2, 3 lessons? Or are we talking about weeks, months? How long does it take for a child to learn?
Ken, that is the question that I get all the time. And the thing is every child is different. There may be a 3-year-old child who doesn't want to put their face in right away. And what we do is coach them and give them the confidence to start to do that. And that may take that child a little bit longer. And that's okay. As long as we're building that confidence and keeping them safer on the water, I don't think you could put an exact time limit on it. We do once a week lessons. And I think the more consistent you are year round with lessons, uh, the faster and more proficient kids will be in the pool.
You know what, Lindsay, I confess publicly, I'm a great swimmer. I'm a fast swimmer. I'm a long swimmer. I can do laps for hours. I'm great at it. I know the breaststroke. I know backstroke. I'm good.
Wow.
Except I still can't dive. At 59 plus years of age, I never learned to dive. I just belly
Wow.
flopped every time I tried. So I think I need a visit to Big Blue for Lindsay to teach me how to dive.
Ken, come on down. We're here 7 days a week. Anytime you want to drop in, we'll give you a lesson.
You got it. I will take you up on that, and then we'll show the picture of me trying to dive that people will not be able to unsee for the rest of their lives. Give everybody a website so they could check you out for Big Blue.
Yeah, we're at bigblueswimschool.com. We're located at 1515 US 22 West in Watchung. You can also find us on Instagram at Big Blue Swim School Watchung. Give us a follow. We're always posting giveaways and information about swim lessons in our facilities. So thanks so much for having me on, Ken.
And it's not just summertime, right? The best time to start
No,
learning sometimes is winter so that you're ready for summer. So if you got a little
exactly.
one coming, this is the time to do it. I know that you guys are open year round, so that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
and I
Lindsay
cannot stress
Piniella. Yeah.
enough consistency. Consistency,
Yeah.
consistency. So year round.
So important. It could save a life. Every year, all the years I was at Channel 7, every late spring, early summer, you always had the urban kid who's never swum before, who goes with the group of friends to, Ozone Park or whatever. They go to the water and they think, oh, no big deal. They're trying to impress a girlfriend. They get into the water and they drown. It is just too easy to prevent for kids not to learn. It's just, there's no excuse. So Lindsay Piniella, General Manager of Big Blue Swim School, Watchung, New Jersey. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it.
You bet. Have a great day and great rest of summer. All right. It is 64 degrees right now at 8:44. When we come back, hey, tough guys, it's time to rethink what strength and masculinity really mean. We're going to talk about that next. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:46, taking calls at 888-658-0234. And we go to meteorologist Mike Favetta, who has the very latest forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. So what are we looking like ahead? And pretty nice weekend, did I see and hear you say?
Yeah, we've got gorgeous weather this weekend. Got to watch out for the bugs, though, Ken, because they are going to be pesky, especially as we enter the peak of mosquito and tick season. So here's the calendar from Viking going month by month. And right now, toward the end of July, we're well into the thick of mosquitoes and tick season, but already starting to see some spotted lanternflies. We've seen the bees and all of the stinging insects around for a while, but now as the weather starts to warm again with the drier forecast ahead, I think it'll look a little bit more pleasant into the weekend, but just watch out for those extra bugs, especially at the beaches with a little bit of a west breeze developing by the end of the weekend. Hey, at least the worst of the drought is beyond us. Just a little dot there of red with the extreme drought. The severe drought still extends down through most of coastal New Jersey, but back to the north and west, just abnormally dry because we picked up so much rain with all of those showers on Tuesday, with the floods over the weekend. Now looking forward to some dry weather, even though the precipitation outlook through the first few days of August, this takes us about 2 weeks ahead, puts slightly higher than average rain chances going into the next 2 weeks. But even with that cooler weather, because all of the heat will be locked out west. So with our forecast looking seasonably warm this weekend, we're dry going into Sunday and Monday. Tuesday looks to be a little bit wet, and then beyond that, I think we dry things out again by Thursday of next week. The shore points look great this weekend too. Lots of sunshine into Monday, and then a little bit of rain comes back on Tuesday and Wednesday, Ken.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Mucho apreciado. And next time you see me, I'll be in a new studio. Hopefully it'll be
Can't
working.
wait.
Otherwise, I'm driving over to your studio. We'll have to.
Great weather for
I'll.
moving, Ken. Great weather for
Yeah, there
moving.
you go.
Hmm.
There is. Let's see. Moving pins and vinegar in my eyes. Moving pins and vinegar in my eyes. It's a debate.
Yeah.
I'll have to figure it
Uh-huh.
out. But you have
Uh-huh.
a wonderful weekend, sir, and we will see you bright and early next week.
Thank you. See you
Kiss the
then.
babies and the wife.
Will do.
All right. Take care, pal. It is 8:49 right now. In terms of traffic, just a couple of things to tell you about. Let's go over to Route 78, Vauxhall Road. We have this accident. It's off to the shoulder. Pardon me. You can see it's only causing a little slowdown in those lanes off to the right of your screen. Not a major problem, but just something to know about. It's causing a little brake checking in both directions as you pass that area. We have a down pole now. Route 9, both directions impacted south of Main Street in Middle Township. All lanes are closed through there. On the Turnpike, when you come in from Manhattan to New Jersey, westbound Turnpike local lane southbound at exit 70, west or south, depending on your perspective, there is the right shoulder blocked with a crash involving a truck there. We have a fuel spill on Route 17 northbound north of Glen Ave and Paramus with the right shoulder closed. And your Hudson River crossings, the Lincoln and Holland, both reporting 35 to 40 minutes in. It's a little heavier actually here at the Holland. That's 40 minutes, 35 at the Lincoln. GWB upper and lower levels, we only have a wide shot right now, so we'll just tell you it's about 25 minutes, and that's your best bet today. Many men grow up believing, there it is. Thank you very much for showing. There's that one breakdown that's still there, but it's not causing problems. Well, many men grow up believing they have to be tough, self-reliant, and handle life's challenges on their own. But experts say those expectations can come at a bit of a cost, contributing to loneliness, mental health struggles, and even shorter lifespans. Joining us this morning is Dave Rossi, Silicon Valley entrepreneur, CEO of CQ or CIQU Construction, and author of Alphas Die Early, to discuss why it's time to rethink what strength and masculinity really mean. Good morning to you, Dave. Good to have you on.
Good. Good morning, Ken. Thank you for having me on. And let me tell you right away, you are a masculine man. The swimming that you can do, the distance swimming, what you talked about earlier, you got the man points.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Look at this. I sit behind my desk sipping my coffee. But if you knew, here, I'll say this will take away from the manly man. I'm wearing shorts.
All right.
Or maybe it gives me the manly man points. That's a good thing. Or I'm just being honest about it. The title of your book, though, is very, very important, I think, because we all know, guys all know guys like this. Alphas die early, and that grabs people's attention. But it's essential that you grab people's attention about this. Talk about why that title.
Well, the title has lots of meanings, but ultimately you're right. Alphas Die Early is about the alpha masculinity stereotype that our country and our culture has ingrained in us. And clearly, by the statistics, it's not working. Young men are 3 out of 4 suicides. Body dysmorphia is up. Mental health issues are up. Drug addiction is up. There are all kinds of issues with young men these days, and the statistics are staggering. These are not something that we should avoid. The loneliness epidemic as well is a clear epidemic, and it needs attention. And that's kind of why I wrote this book.
Does social media have to do with this? Because I have friends who have, I don't have kids, but I have friends who have sons who say that their kid is on following this bodybuilder, and then talk about body dysmorphia, thinking of, oh, I could achieve that ideal body. One of my friend's sons is in his early 20s. His whole life is about having certain grams of proteins at certain times and this, that, and yet he complains about, in a very depressed way, he's not increasing his mass like he wants. That shouldn't be your all-engrossing point of your life, should it?
Well, I think it's a little bigger than that. I think social media plays a huge role, and I think ultimately the role that it creates is confusion about what masculinity actually is. And I think when a young man wants to be a bodybuilder and he starts watching these social media posts about bodybuilding, the definition of masculinity is being filtered through that desire and through that presentation. And then he might change hobbies or change something else, and that definition of masculinity changes again. And this creates confusion. I mean, we are still in the animal kingdom. And as animals, as males, there is a protocol as a biological unit, kind of a Darwinian DNA. We're predisposed to be the 800-pound gorilla or the peacock with the brightest feathers. And so we've adopted a culture where we just change feathers and get bigger feathers or brighter feathers. And we're quite sure what that looks like in modern society. Is it money? Is it abs? Is it a nice apartment? Is it fancy clothes or a pretty girlfriend? That confusion creates behavior in the men in our culture. And that's what's becoming toxic, and that's what's becoming dangerous, is they don't know how to act. There isn't a clear model like there used to be.
I'm so glad you said that because we have those traditional ideas of masculinity, and look, I'm not against I'm not against guys wanting to be guys. That's a good thing, right? It's fine
Yeah,
as
yeah.
long as you keep it real, and don't try to put on the facade that is phony. Now, the traditional ideas of masculinity often contribute to loneliness and mental health challenges. Let's talk about that.
Well, loneliness, I think, is often misunderstood, and I want to jump right in with what you said. You're absolutely right. It is about authenticity. It's about not pretending, because the pretending is creating the fake feathers and then seeing a new image or a new social media post or a new trend and changing the feathers. And when we're constantly changing feathers and we're constantly living this stoic masculine definition that our culture is kind of determined for us, we do create loneliness. And the confusion with loneliness is it isn't actually that you're alone. It's that you're isolated in being able to share your feelings and share your emotions. And one of the alpha traps is that it professes for men to suppress emotion, to suppress vulnerability, to suppress authenticity, because it's fearful. It takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable. I mean, look at you jumping up and showing us your shorts. That was a real vulnerable thing to do. And that's a real masculine thing to do, to not be afraid to say the thing you need to say for the reasons why you need to say it. And men, to start breaking this trend, focus on loneliness. Connect with someone, share your emotions, open up. If it's another man or your wife, and you have to get in touch with those emotions. And that loneliness epidemic creates so much social isolation, mental turmoil, mental health issues, physical health issues, stress, weight gain. All of these things are studied, and I show the studies in the book. It's very well researched. But the point is, it's real.
Absolutely. And you talk about the Omega mindset. So, what is the Omega mindset, and how does it differ from the traditional Alpha mentality?
We know the alpha, the beta, the sigma, these are traditional archetypes that social scientists have studied, and they study behaviors and they assign certain, worldviews and personal views. And the omega is something that I've kind of stepped into, and it's kind of the last. Alpha is the first and omega is the last. And the goal is to stop wearing masks. The omega mindset is not that there's anything wrong with being an alpha, and there's actually nothing wrong with being a beta or a sigma. But ultimately, if it's something that you're trying to pretend to be, if you're suppressing your emotions, and that's not a natural act or an authentic act, then you're stopping where your emotions should be going, and that is actually not authentic. And so the point of the Omega is to put down performance and bravado. It's to put down drawing new feathers for a peacock feather is to be seen, to put down the mask and the facade and start asking people to see you for the bird and not the feathers, and put more energy into the authenticity of who you really are. Look, you can't pretend to be something and then actually be that thing. So if you're going to pretend to be an alpha, you can't actually be an alpha, because that's contrary to what the nature is.
100%. Give everybody a website and tell them how they could learn more about your work and find the book.
Ken, the book's on Amazon, as well as my website. Website's daverossyglobal.com, bestseller on Amazon, and as well as many other bookstores.
Well, no one's going to question your masculinity. You got it all, my friend. God bless you. Thanks for sharing it. The name of the book, Alphas Die Early. The author, Dave Rossi, Silicon Valley entrepreneur, CEO of CIQU Construction, and a manly man. And we appreciate you so much for coming on this morning, Dave. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Ken. Have a great day.
You too. It is 8:58. We have a temp of 65 degrees. Mike is saying, nice day today, just a little sticky. Enjoy it. And it's going to be even nicer right through the weekend. Thanks for watching On New Jersey Mornings for your Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.